7 realizations that completely shifted my reality. What life is at the core truly about is about being happy, right? And the thing that is making us unhappy is our mind, the constant worries, the constant problems that we see, the overthinking, the people pleasing, the insecurities, the lack of self-esteem, which at the core comes down to lack of self-love. And I want to provide you today with 7 realizations that really helped for me to shift from being preoccupied in my mind to complete self-awareness. And I still use these 7 things every day to remind myself to stay in self-awareness and not feel like my mind or my insecurities can control me or overwhelm me. And it is only from awareness where we can ever feel complete happiness and fulfillment, because our mind is just wired to always see problems, to always think about the next worry. And it's so easy to be led by those negative thoughts, or to be led by your insecurities, or to feel overwhelmed or paralyzed to take action, to work towards your goals and dreams, or live the happy life that you would like. Without any further ado, let's get into it. My name is Davy. I am a PhD student in chemical engineering at the University of Cambridge. And in my free time, I love to study topics related to self-development, which I want to link back to science. I love studying things about psychology, quantum physics of manifestation, etc. And over the past few years, I've been cultivating a lot of self-awareness and understanding of the mind, right? Because so much of us are sort of slave to the mind, subjected to negative thoughts that get thrown at us, and we tend to spiral in negative thinking and struggle to get out of this. And the only way to truly get out of this is through self-awareness, through this understanding of consciousness, through not identifying with the mind anymore. And today I want to give you 7 clear realizations that I've had that really helped me and still help me to this day to stay in self-awareness and feel fulfillment and self-love and happiness from within without needing external circumstances to give that to me, but also to keep me out of negative thinking and negative thought spirals. So let's get into it. The first realization is that no thought is true on its own. This is an incredibly important one. When we get thoughts presented to us, especially negative thoughts, the reason we feel bad is because we believe the thoughts. But we need to understand something about thoughts. Thoughts are just like clouds that are floating around. Sometimes a positive one gets presented to you, sometimes a negative one gets presented to you. No thought is true on its own. When a thought is presented to you, it doesn't mean that that is your intuition. It doesn't mean that that thought is true. It is only when we believe the thought, it becomes the truth. There is our manifestation power there. So let's get an example out. Have there not been times where your mind was completely wrong? Let's say it was your birthday and you thought your friend forgot about your birthday. And in your head, you were getting all worked up. Oh, they forgot about me. They don't care about me, etc., etc. And then you get a phone call. They call you, they congratulate you, and they've never forgotten about your birthday. They even got you maybe a surprise or a gift. Now, that thought process that you had before that, it was completely untrue. And there are so many times, and you have to become really aware of this, where your mind assumes negative things about other people, about situations at work, about assuming negative outcomes. And then when you actually go through the experience, they turn out to be not true at all. Now, this is just an example of where your mind was wrong. The problem is not the negative thoughts. Negative thoughts will float around. It happens. Thoughts are just like clouds in an ocean. Sometimes you have a positive thought. Sometimes there's a negative thought presented to you. Thoughts will just come. It's not the negative thoughts that are the problem. It is you believing in those thoughts. And I live in self-awareness, right? And it doesn't mean I don't get negative thoughts. It is about as soon as a negative thought is presented to you, you realize, wait, actually, I don't have to believe this thought. I choose to not believe this thought. It can be a thought like, oh, this person doesn't care about me, or, oh, I'm gonna have a bad day at work, or, oh, this meeting is not gonna go well. These are just thoughts. These are just little negative thoughts that are presented to you, but they're not true. Why? because they only become true when you believe in them, when you feed them, when you give them your emotion. You still have the power. The thoughts don't have the power. Let's get an example. You're watching advertisements. Advertisements are just randomly presented to you, right? Sometimes there's an ad that you like, sometimes there's an ad that you don't like. And you choose which ad to resonate with. It is the same with thoughts. Thoughts are just presented to you. Positive ones, negative ones, they're all just floating around in this quantum realm of thought waves. Now, our power, our consciousness has the freedom to choose which thoughts to feed. It is just chatter. If you really become aware of your inner voice, how many times does it go back and forth between something? Shall I do it? Shall I not? Your inner voice is not consistent. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. Sometimes it is having a discussion with itself, debating whether it should do something. So do you see that your inner voice can never be the truth? It's saying two contrary things at the same time. It is just our emotions that at some point choose which truth to believe. So let's say you want to start a business. There might be a part of you that thinks, I can do it. And there might also be an insecure part of you at the same time, or an inner voice that says, no, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be hard. None of these are true. These are just thoughts. These are just two sides to a coin. It is your emotion that decides which thought is true. You can choose. So whenever a negative thought is presented to you, literally just see it as a random ad that is popping up in your head. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to go with it. It's just a thought. I want to make a side note here because sometimes people are like, but what if it's my intuition? Because you have negative thoughts and the mind, and you have your intuition, right? Which comes more from the soul, your actual true self. How do you hear the difference? Well, the mind is loud. The mind yells. The mind you can hear very, very clearly. Your intuition whispers. It is actually quite hard to listen to your intuition. Why? Because your mind is this loud voice in your head, and your intuition is just a slight whisper, a hint, a slight gut feeling. And often when we have intuitive thought, it gets overruled immediately by our loud, actual egoic mind. And it's like, no, that can't be true. That's probably not true. Why should I do that? Why did I think of that? Listen to that whisper. Listen to that first intuitive, soft thought that didn't feel too pressing and feels very, like a whisper, like, should I listen to that? Ooh, that is like a little hint of something I could do. The mind is always rational, it's always try to find order in the chaos. We often doubt our intuition. It feels a bit more doubtful because it's the chaos, it's the underworld. And the ratio and the order and the structure and a loud voice is what feels nice to us to listen to because we crave that order. We think it's keeping us safe. The second realization, every problem starts within. Has there ever been a time in your life where you didn't have a worry, where you didn't have a problem, where you didn't have something on your mind that occasionally pops up, or maybe all the time, that is stressing you out, that is making you feel worried? Maybe it's the next career step that you need to take at this point in your life. But back in the day, in primary school, it was whether that your friends were talking to you. There's always a problem, yeah? Because this is also something from the mind. The mind always creates new problem. Now I'll tell you something. It is never the external circumstances that are actually the problem. It is the part of you that sees problems in everything. We always think, okay, once we have that in our life, we'll be happy. Once we have that, as long as we externalize our happiness, as long as we don't acknowledge that it is the part of us that sees problems, that is the problem, we will never reach true fulfillment. We will never reach true happiness. And the only way to not keep running into problems, it is about changing your perspective and not seeing that as a problem. Just seeing that as a hurdle, as a little lesson, as something that is meant to help you grow. Remove the word problem from your vocabulary. There are no problems. There are only learning experiences. There are only things that are helping me grow. When external life circumstances get thrown at us, we feel anxiety, we feel fear, we feel anger. But in these states of anxiety, of fear and anger, we cannot see the resolution. Let's get an example of a business owner, yeah? He gets problems probably on his plate every day. What makes a successful business owner? by not dwelling in the fact that this is a problem, immediately thinking, how am I going to resolve this? This is not a problem. Why? Because I trust myself that I can fix everything. I can manifest myself out of this. I will not allow myself to dwell in anger or anxiety, because I know from that state, I will not be able to see the resolution, right? It's like clouding your vision. And once you remove that cloud of vision, you're like, I do not see this as a problem. I know I can fix it. I don't know how yet, but I will. Only then you're sort of increasing your vibration and you're able to see opportunities or ways to resolve this conflict. There is always going to be the next problem. There is never going to be a moment in your life where you don't have problems. You can only change you. You can only change your internal world. You can only change your perspective. You can only change how you choose to view things. Trying to resolve anything in your external world is like trying to stitch yourself up when you're internally bleeding. Life is always going to throw things at you. It doesn't matter. It is about trusting in yourself that you have the ability to overcome them, to find resolutions, to trust in your own strength. Any problem that occurs in your outside world, you resonated with that. You attracted that into your life. It is not the outside world that is ever the problem. It is just in you. It was a frequency in you, and that needs healing and that needs resolvement. It's just about understanding that no solution can exist if you're inside the problem. If you're submerging in a negativity and the overwhelmment, there's no way to see a resolution. The third realization is that I can choose the outcome that I want always. There are so many things in our life, future things, that we worry about. How is this gonna go? Will I succeed at that? Worrying about the future is sort of the silliest thing that you can do, because you can choose your future, right? It is like worrying about which movie you're gonna watch, when in reality you can pick which movie you're gonna watch. It's not a random thing. Don't see life as circumstances that are just thrown at you. You can choose. You can create your future. Whenever I worry about something in my future, I'm like, there's no need to worry, because I can pick. Because I can choose which reality I want to tune into, which future I want to create. You are playing this game called life. You decide which path you take. We often worry because there's a lack of structure. There's too much chaos. There are too many unknowns. But it's fine to have unknowns if we truly believe that we can eventually always choose the outcome and choose how we want to feel. It's fine that we then don't exactly know how this is going to take form or shape. We just trust that we, at any point in our life, can choose what emotion we want to feel, what direction we want to go in. We can script and create future scenarios that we want to live in. We can put in orders in the universe. We can pray and ask for specific outcomes. We are the creators of our life. So every time we feel a worry come up, if we truly believe that we can create the outcomes to our life, there is no need to worry anymore. Of course, there are unknowns, uncertainties, there is chaos. We don't know how, we don't know when. We want certainty, we want safety, we want security, right? And that is the true worry. But that is just your brain craving the safety of order, of structure. But once we understand our creator energy, understand that we create the outcome anyway, we can have peace with the chaos. We can have peace with the lack of structure, with the unknowns. How beautiful is it that we don't exactly know how our life is gonna go? If I could give you a book right now with exactly how every day of your life is gonna go, would you read that book? Would you want to know what is the fun in life anymore? And that is the trick as well. We need to see fun in the chaos. We need to see fun and excitement in the unknown. So once we can find peace with that chaos, it's like swimming in the ocean. Yeah, we know that the waves are gonna throw us around, but we eventually know the destination that we're swimming towards. So it's fine anyway. We don't mind the waves throwing us left and right a little bit along the way. Fourth realization is that you need to truly accept love in your life to receive more of it. You can only accept love in the quantity of how much you love yourself, how much you think you're worthy of love. That is the size of your cup. If you love yourself a little bit, that is the maximum of the amount of love you can receive of others, and you will never feel truly fulfilled in love because it's so little. If you love yourself completely, you can also accept that quantity of love from others. If you want more love in your life, if you want more loving relationships with your family, with a partner, with your friends, it is truly about how much do I love yourself? If you're lacking connection with other people, truly you're lacking connection with yourself. This is also about receiving love in terms of if someone wants to do something for you, if someone does something nice for you, truly believe that they did that because they love you and they care about you. And I think if we really go deep in ourselves, there might be a part of us that doesn't truly believe this. It doesn't truly believe that people really, really care for us. Why? Because we don't really, really care for ourselves. So if we don't really care for ourselves, how can we actually at the core believe that anyone else cares for us? Being able to open your heart to others is through constantly reminding yourself that you are safe and you are loved. When we feel depressed or sad, it is often because we feel misunderstood, we feel disconnected, we feel unloved, and there might be people around us that love us, our parents, our friends, but we're not accepting that love because we don't think we're worthy of it. Remind yourself that other people do love you. Receive the love that they have to offer. Receive the care and see it as love. Don't think people have a second agenda or, make up conspiracies when people do something nice for you. People care to the extent to which they can care for anyone else more than themselves. That's just a little bit how we're wired, right? We're humans. In the end of the day, we can only care the most for ourselves because that's the life we have to deal with 24/7. But other people do care and other people do love you, and once you truly can receive that love, you will also increase your own self-love, because it's like how much love you receive is how worthy you feel of love, which is a reflection also of how much you love yourself. Fifth realization is stop people pleasing and stop draining your energy. I'm assuming that that a lot of empaths are watching this video, right? The people pleasers, in other words, because when you're an empath, you are able to feel other people's emotions very strongly, right? And it's very, very easy when you're around people to then prioritize their feelings over your own and, fall into these people-pleasing tendencies and find it so important what they think and to do good for them. And this can be very, very draining because at the same time that people-pleasing also makes you feel alone because it feels like you're doing a lot for other people or you're not getting the same in return. Because in reality, you're doing too much for other people. Yeah, you will not get that in return because it's not healthy to give away so much to people. You need to put up boundaries. You can be there for people when they need you, of course, but you cannot keep on giving away your care and energy to other people and then not give it to yourself. Doing things for others is what makes you happy. And if you're a kind person like that, of course you need to keep doing that. But I'm talking about overly thinking, what would they think? What would they feel? Did I say the right thing? Or do they still want to be friends with me? Do they still want to be my partner? Those are the people-pleasing, insecure thoughts. Or I didn't reply to a text. Did I do enough? Those are draining your energy. When in reality, the other person might not even be aware of this overthinking that you do with all of your relationships. That comes down to the fact that there is this fear of not being liked. There's this fear of not receiving love in return or losing the love that you have with the person in your life. And that pushes you into people-pleasing behavior because at the core, you actually don't feel worthy of the love because you don't love yourself enough. And it is a form of self-love to also put up boundaries. And when you catch yourself overthinking about, what would the other person say? Did I reply enough in that text? Did I do this? Cut the energy cord. Cut it. Literally artificially imagine that there's an energy cord between you and that person and cut it. You need to keep that energy for yourself. You cannot keep giving away energy all day, overthinking about what that person thought, what that person wants. People pleasing, it's like a drain. It's like you have your energy and there's like a leakage inside of you. It's like the people pleasing leakage. You're constantly giving away energy, overly thinking about what other people want, overly analyzing their replies, etc. That is a drain. When you find yourself being overly anxious or overly thinking about what the other person wants, what the other person feels, put the energy back on yourself. Understand that these are just, again, those negative thoughts that are presented to you that are not true on their own. And it's enough. Also for the introverts, people that feel drained around people, you're probably an empath too. The only reason you're drained around people is because you keep giving away your energy to people. Am I being fun? Am I being this? Put the energy back on yourself. Stop focusing on the external world and what other people think. Sixth realization. Nothing is truly important enough to worry about. These days I've gotten better and better at just understanding, like, is it truly important? Like, you can worry about the smallest things, what to buy someone for their birthday, what to say in a meeting, or worries that are occupying our mind on a daily basis, right? These small worries. Ask yourself the question, would this worry still matter in a year or in 10 years? If the answer is no, does it then truly matter? During the day, we might have, 100 worries, small things, something with work, something about a friend, something with a family member or your relationship, something in the supermarket, I don't know, something, maybe the product ran out in the supermarket and we're stressed about the ingredient. Like, I don't know. Our mind is silly. It literally will find worries and problems left and right. Ask yourself the question, does this truly matter? Would I care about this in a year? Would I care about this in 10 years? If the answer is no, it's not something you have to worry about anymore, right? Like, really start to cultivate this awareness of how silly some problems are that we create, how silly some overthinking worries are. If it doesn't matter in a year, it's not important, and I don't need to give it my energy and it's normal. It's normal to have these worries. Our mind, again, we just get negative and positive thoughts, everything just thrown at us. Whatever we give emotion is what becomes the truth. But reminding ourselves of, would we worry about this in a year, 10 years, is what can bring us back to the silliness of the worry and can help us let go. Seventh and final realization that I want to give: no one is ever truly gonna understand you as well as you, because you are unique. There is this human desire to be understood, to be felt. And when we feel alone, it is at the core about feeling misunderstood. Does someone on this earth truly get me? And I think that's why we like YouTube so much. And I like talking to you guys, because it makes me feel understood, right? If you think about human psychology, we talk about the things that we care about and we want to share it with the world because we want to feel understood. And you might be watching this and like watching my videos because it makes you feel understood. So it's this human desire to feel understood, to feel connected. There might never be a point where we feel 100% understood about everything that we are and everything that we think, because maybe such thing doesn't exist. We're all unique. It's fine for one person to understand this part of you, for another person to understand that part of you. If you accumulate every person in your life that you talk to or communicate with, you're probably understood in everything. But you need to combine these people. You do not need to seek one person that understands everything, right? The only person that matters is you. Once you agree with you, once you stop self-criticizing yourself. And when I was cultivating awareness as well, I was catching myself whenever my ego got triggered, right? In my head, it would be like, Davy, your ego is triggered, don't do that, etc. But at that point, I'm still not being nice to myself, am I? I'm reprimanding myself in my head. I'm correcting myself from hatred and from correction and from you're doing wrong, keep doing right. And especially when you're cultivating this awareness, don't make that then into another form of self-criticism. Full acceptance, full love. It is okay to sometimes have a negative thought. It is okay to sometimes have a worry. Look at yourself and you think, oh, you're so cute, Of course, you're human. You have your little worries and your little things. Is it gonna matter in a year? Probably not. Get on with it, right? Stop self-criticizing when you look in the mirror. Stop pointing out the things that you don't like. Start looking at the things that you do like. Start to respect your body and the health that it's giving you. Once you do all of those things, it is going to be you that understands you. It's going to be you that knows what you want and that cares about you and that's always going to be there for you. And once you become that person for yourself, you stop craving it so much from others. You stop craving it so much to feel understood by others because you understand yourself, because you are there for yourself. And you know that you care about you like you would for your own child. We need to become very, very aware of the inner monologue. And how many times is it being negative? How many times is it reprimanding you or correcting you or being like a horrible parent in your head to yourself? But like, say you have a child and you're just yelling at it what it needs to do. Do you think that child is gonna grow up being kind? Probably not. You're butchering it. You're emotionally abusing it. So don't think you can improve yourself by emotionally abusing yourself, by correcting yourself, by reprimanding yourself, by keep telling yourself how you need to do things better and how that was wrong and how that was wrong. That is not the way to coach yourself, because it's not the way to love yourself. And once you become that person for yourself, you understand you. So then at that point, you don't feel the need anymore to always be fully understood by everyone else. If you crave that, you need to look in the mirror, because it's only going to be you that can fulfill that role. That was my rant on some very, very important realizations. And I hope they resonate. And if you like this video, leave me a like. I would also love if you subscribe to my channel. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, that is Davy_Sitaram. And I would love, love, love to see you in my next video. Sending you my love.